Hey everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the Art of Paul Apps. Now, a few weeks ago in my gallery to my weekly student classes, I actually did 3 demonstrations. Now, one of them was a lovely little seascape, and that's what I'm going to be doing in this video for you guys today. But more importantly, I did all 3 paintings that day with a primary set of colors. Now, the colors that I used are the same on here right now. That is ultramarine blue, quinacridone rose, and yellow ochre, along with, of course, titanium white. Now, I chose those colors because I chose those colors. There are so many pigments of blues, reds, and yellows out there, and any combination may suit your palette for the painting that you're doing. And I stress that because sometimes the type of painting you are doing will influence your choices. So always consider that, if you were doing a sunset with vivid oranges, reds and yellows, you may not want a dull red or a dull yellow. You may want cadmium yellow, cadmium red to really punch out the excitement of that sky. So again, you will be influenced on your choices. I just happened to choose these ones. Now, the groups a few weeks ago, they really enjoyed that demonstration and they learned a lot from it, and moreover they enjoyed seeing the harmony that by using fewer colors actually creates in a painting throughout the whole painting, because every color that I made, however muted it may have been, was related to the color right next to it, because I could only make it from 1, 2 or 3 of the colors that I had on board. So that's what I'm going to do now. Without further ado, we're going to get on with it, and hopefully at the other end we'll have a painting that I'm happy with, you've enjoyed, and you've got something to take on in your own painting. So without further ado, let's get on and let's see how it turns out. Okay, so first and foremost, I've got an 8x10 panel. It's a simple MDF panel that you can buy from most picture framing supplies. It's a 2.4, I think, width, depth. And all I've done with that is I've put 3 coats of white gesso, acrylic gesso on the surface, and I've given it a light sanding off, and then I've gone over with this imprimatur coat, which is quite simply a whitened down or a bit of pigment added to white gesso, which is burnt sienna. And when that's so much white in there, it comes out this sort of pinky shade, but it really is nice for a very warm value set against quite a cool colored sea. But I think it works very, very nicely. All I'm going to do now is use a small flat brush to simply indicate some of the wave shapes, and I'm going to be using a little bit of liquid just to make the paint move a little easier. So I'm going to put some of that up as well. There we go. I use the impasto one because if I'm out doing plein air, or indeed when I'm filming like this for you guys, at least I can sort of not worry about that all sliding everywhere. So that's what that's about. I'm going to just use a little bit of red, yellow and blue. Why not? We got it here. Let's go for it. A little bit of the impasto. All it is to make that move a little bit. Now, the whole picture is considerably longer and larger. I have cropped in a little bit on this. I just wanted to suggest the wave form, and they've got a lovely crest about here, and then it comes down. That's quite a nice crest. Mine is a little deeper than the reality on the photo. Don't worry about that. My painting is based on the whole thing. It's not trying to copy every subtle nuance that it produces. And there's another wave coming up here, and it sort of kicks up around about there, I think. There's a couple of sub splashes here, which will look quite interesting. But the wind is coming this way, and it's catching the wave, and therefore it's pushing this spray backwards. And we're going to make a little more on that. Sky bashed in pretty quickly. It's pretty bland. There's not a lot going on with it. However, I may augment that with one of my notoriously well trained seagulls that happens to turn up almost on every seascape that I paint, whether they on cue or not, or whether I just book them in advance and then they just rock up when I need them to. A little bit more yellow, a little bit more red, a little bit more blue. Now, some people at this point would use a straight edge going through there. Please, if you feel the need to do that, go for it. We're just playing around with these colors until we get somewhere we need them to be. Now, that could be good. A little bit more of the liquid to make the paint move slightly easier. I think we've shifted it off of the pure blue axis. It still does look too blue. So, okay, let's come in with some red, some more blue. We've got a purple going on. Now let's come in this side with a little yellow. Now let's just see where that takes that blue color. Could be too far the other way. No, actually I don't think it does. I think we're going to come in with a bit of a violet color, and that will work nicely up to the top of the sea. But I want to come in with a yellow and a deeper blue. Now we've gone to a real grungy green. Look at that. But we're going to temper that with some red. We're going to come in like that. We're going to put a bit more blue in, and we're messing around with our colors, and we keep mixing our colors until we get where we want it to be. Now what I'm looking for is a bit of a dirty color in that wave, and it's all showing that beautiful darkness in our wave, and that will set itself up beautifully against any light that we put on, and also anything that we do related to the backwash and the beautiful crest of color to it. I'm just going to come in with a little bit more of my Gamsol just with the liquid, just to play around with it. I don't want to go too mad with that. We'll actually do a lot of drawing for you in that regard, because you know the waves are not dead straight lines. Of course they're not. Now on its own, that is just too strong. If you look at the wave color in there, the foam patterns, if I put that on, it's just going to be bang, it's like a neon light. So we've got to temper it down. It's all about using the value. We're going to put a bit of yellow in. We're going to put a bit more red in. You can use a rigger to come back in and put some finer details into that, but you are creating a wonderful pattern of foam. And you can also, what I've just done there, you see one there, and indeed these ones, you can use these as indication lines. You can draw people in to your painting by using lead-in lines, lead-in information, just like this, and just play around with it. They are not actually in the reference, but by doing this, you are increasing the ability for people to look at it, and they don't know why, but all of a sudden they're looking at this or somewhere else, and the lead-in line stops them coming out of the canvas and disappearing onto somewhere else on your canvas, or indeed somebody else's painting that might be sitting next door to your one. My paintings have always been about pushing complementary color to work together, and you see it in all my work, my wildlife work, my landscape work. I am constantly looking at ways of bringing complementaries in such a way that they work with or against each other accordingly to whatever my needs are. And you know, I use them to that effect. Not always perfectly, but hey, we can't always get it spot on. Maybe a little bit more of that whitish off yellow color. Won't be too well felt at the moment, but it's going to be there all the same. And bring a little bit of light into there, soften the top of that, a little bit harsh. Similarly here, we're going to start bringing this up now and put in a little bit more. Now the more transitions of color that you make, the less impactful it will be. In other words, you put in a few values of this yellow, but if you kept going, if you were to make a grey from dark to light, then there would be no impact for the real lights to be, because they're just one step above the last one. So I am just putting in a few steps so that when I put the final colors in, the final shades of pure whites, or not pure, off-whites, they're not pure whites, but the yellow whites that I'm going to put in, will, I hope, still have enough impact to make their presence felt. I'm not looking at the fine night spray. I'm simply looking for the overall effect. I do need to bring a little bit more fluid into this. I did a lot of this on a recent wildlife painting I did of two fighting hippos in the Luangwa River, and I was so long on the water aspect where they were fighting in the Luangwa River, and the splashes were everywhere, all over the show, and I had to put them on. I put them on, I took some off. I played around with the ideas for a long time before I settled down to think that that's where I wanted it to be. Okay everybody, now before I go any further, I just wanted to say that obviously this is a very shortened version of the full length video. Now the full length video is available over on my paid school, my wildlife and landscape school, and it only costs you $15 a month to become a member. And for that you get so much. You get all my full length videos, and I'm adding to them all of the time. And in addition to that, you get a weekly live stream for 2 hours on a Sunday evening, and that alone is just worth so much to so many people who join in and have fun during those live sessions. In addition to that, there is a lovely community of like-minded artists who, just like you, are wanting to learn more about painting and the disciplines and the techniques, all of these things that I cover within the school. As I said, it is a wildlife and landscape school, so I am changing the medium because I paint in many mediums. I changed the medium, and I also changed the subject of the lessons, and that includes these full-length versions as well. So with all that said, if you fancy leveling up your painting skills and learning so much more from me, then consider joining the Wildlife and Landscape School, and all the details, as I said, are in the Show More tab of this and many other videos, and I look forward hopefully to see you there. Take care. Let's get back to the painting now. It's a beautiful wave, but wave structures, I mean, they do follow a similar pattern wherever they are, whatever size they are, but you know, the structure of a wave is quite intricate. I'm going to put one low, just a little gull shape in there, maybe one above, like that. I may take them out, I'm not sure. I did book them to be bigger, but only the young ones have turned up, I think. So just getting towards the shadows at that point. We're going to put a little bit more into some of this too, because that needs to look as though it's rising up, sucking the water in, and equally we need a little bit more light into some of these marks through here, which have lost out to the bluer colours that I've been putting in. And it creates a much greater degree of contrast between the two elements. On this particular wave, certainly there's a darker mark in there that I've almost missed, or if I didn't, I actually lost it. So I'm going to put that in. That puts the top of that wave together, and it sort of breaks out a little bit here. Now where I had the lighter yellows and purples, I'm putting in a little dusting here and there of a darker value, which is mixing up yet another layer of information in here, creating the degree of contrast which may be somewhat missing. So let's just put a little bit back in. Now I've started it, I've seen more of it, and I want to add to that, but I'm coming in with a little more yellow, a little bit more blue, tap of the red, not too much. So that comes down there. We're going to have slightly greener colour, and we can break into some of what could be the remnants of foam patterns as this is crushing over. And I've got to alter some of this colour, a little bit warm in here. I didn't actually pay too much attention to that. A little bit of that going through into there as well. A little bit more on that one. Now let's bring some of this foam pattern into play here. Pick up some of this colour, bring some of this down as it's reaching down and meeting some of these foam patterns on the water. This water is running out off the shore back towards the wave, so it's sort of over the top and underneath. If I'm going to be really critical, I think it's too central. So what can I do about that? Well, I can actually take this rigger, and I think what I'm going to do is bring my foam this way. I was looking at it. I felt that it's just a little too central. So I'm going to put this lump in here and change the dynamic on here to create a much bigger plume here, but it's rolling over more, so it actually starts here. So whereas I thought I'd finished, yeah, never think you're finished. It never happens. There you go. That will sort that bit out. I'm going to leave that as is. I like what it's doing. And you've even got my fingerprints on the painting, so no argument as to who painted it in the future. But there you go. I just want to do one more little thing. I keep seeing little things, and I just want to do that. I want to bring in a little bit more blue. Just a little suggestion here. Just a little warmer blue into one or two areas here as it's coming down out of the shade towards the bottom of the trough, as it were. It wasn't much, but it was enough to do that. There you go. All right, one little wave scene complete, and it's all done in just 3 colors. Okay, there you go, everybody. One picture of a wave in action off of my local coastline, and it's all done in just 3 colors. That is ultramarine blue, quinacridone rose, and yellow ochre, along with white, of course, and a little bit of liquid to help it on its way. The thing is, as I said right at the start, you can use any combinations of red, yellow, and blue. I chose these ones because they suited the job in hand. They suited what I wanted to do. But if you don't have quinacridone rose, don't worry. You can use alizarin crimson. You could use magenta. They will work for you. Most people will put the reference to this up on my free school. Now, if you fancy having a go at this one yourself and using just 3 colors, pop to my free school, join it, and access the references to this and other videos that I'm making. Now, all the newer videos I'm putting up the references for, and as I find old reference to older videos, I will put them there too if you're watching this on YouTube, or indeed if you're watching the YouTube version without the ads on the free school, that's good too. But if you want to get more from me, if you want the full version of this video, then please pop along to my wildlife and landscape school and get so much more. It only costs you $15 a month, but you get all the long form, all the full tuition, all the references, line up, all of those things. On top of that, there's a weekly 2-hour live session from me every Sunday, unless I'm ill or something, but every Sunday you get this live session. We change the media, I change the subject, and yeah, everyone enjoys themselves, so it's worth getting involved with that. And all of that for just $15 a month out of your pocket. If you don't want to do any of that and you want to help out the channel and help it continue producing free videos, because none of this is easy to make and none of this is cheap to make. So any money that comes in through super chats, or indeed if you want to buy me a coffee, all the links to that are down below in the show more tab of this and many other videos. You can help the channel out by supporting it in that way. So lots on offer. If you want to learn more from me, you know how to get involved, you know how to get in contact, all of these things. I'm going to leave you guys to get on with your life, and I hope you enjoyed this anyway and have got something from it, and have a go at this one yourself. As I say, you know where to find the references. I'll catch you all in the next video very, very soon. Take care, have fun, stay safe. Bye-bye.